Now before I get into this video, I want to state that this contains spoilers for Marvel's Eternals. So if you haven't seen the film, I'd recommend watching it before giving this a watch. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Marvel's Eternals made its theatrical debut this weekend and is currently poised to be another moneymaker for the studio, even with the movie being the lowest critically rated film in the franchise. There are many twists and turns in Eternals, but the biggest surprise comes in the post-credit sequence. In particular, the first one, which introduces a brand new character to the MCU. Well, technically characters, but you didn't click on this video to hear me talk about Pip the Troll. Nothing shocked me more than seeing Harry Styles made his debut as Starfox. Now for those of you who aren't familiar with the character, don't worry, you're not alone. I'm sure the majority of moviegoers who aren't familiar with the comics was clueless to who the singer was playing. Only comic book fans knew straight away and was probably taken aback by seeing Styles in such a major role. Starfox is an Eternal and the younger brother of Thanos the Mad Titan. Yes, the same Thanos who was the big bad in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. So that wasn't a lie when he rocked up on the Eternal ship and proclaimed he was related to the galaxy's most notorious baddie. But it definitely was a brag to make him seem more grand in the eyes of his fellow Eternals. I bet he uses that a lot when he encounters new people across the galaxy. It's very much in line with the character's personality in the comics. Now I'm sure there'll be many questions surrounding the character and his motivation, as well as his allegiances. We've seen ridiculous that an Eternal can appear heroic, but deep down be bad or misguided. Well, this is the MCU, so there's no telling how Starfox will differ from the comics. In the source material, he's heroic, but also deceptive in the way he uses his powers to his advantage, especially when it comes to the opposite sex. Other than the standard abilities that Eternals are born with, like longevity, superhuman strength, agility, flight and durability, he has the unique ability to influence people's emotions, allowing them to open to suggestions. His character isn't overly ambitious like his older brother, who wanted to erase half the life in the universe and succeeded. No, Starfox, or as he's also known by, Eros, is more interested in traveling across the universe and indulging in hedonism, which usually involves him hooking up with various women throughout the galaxy. Yeah, the MCU introduced us to the biggest womanizer in the universe, played by a real-life celebrity and famous for being a womanizer himself. That right there is perfect casting on another level. It's almost as if he was born to play this role, or the role was written specifically for him, which is not the case since Starfox has been around for almost 50 years. Now I'm not going to lie, I wasn't entirely on board with seeing Harry Styles join the MCU. It had nothing to do with the fact that he was part of a boy band, or the type of music he makes as a recording artist. For me, it was concern over his presence in future films. Casting such a big celebrity in a role like this could easily become a distraction. Would I be able to switch off my mind and not just see him as Harry Styles? It's too soon to say, because he's only had a limited amount of screen time to really show if he can immerse himself into his role. From the little we do get of the actor on screen, he's magnetic and charismatic as Starfox, which is why he's a fitting choice for the role. Most of it seems to be the actor just being himself, and that could work considering he's a real-life version of the character. He undoubtedly has the right qualities to play Starfox, both in terms of personality and looks. Now I wish there was an official still of Styles in character to show you how perfectly they bring the character to life, from the comics to the big screen. It might be some time until the studio decides to release an official still to give us a proper look at Starfox. But just look at the character and then Harry Styles. He really resembles his comic book counterpart. Normally when it comes to casting a character from the comics, fans have always chosen actors that closely resemble the illustration as it's drawn on the page. But studios and casting directors will often go for actors who are radically different from the way the character looks in the comics. They are more concerned with the personality the actor can bring to the role and the talents. So resembling a specific character is not always their first priority in the casting process. Styles might not be everyone's first choice for an actor that can play Starfox, but his resemblance to the character is uncanny. It makes him one of the few actors who doesn't need extensive makeup to match the character he's meant to be playing. How amazing is that? What's even more amazing is his leap from singing to acting. I remember when he made his acting debut in Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk, which was a relatively small role for the first-time actor. At the time, it was a huge deal that some had reservations towards. Was it necessary to cast a singer and novice to acting in a prestigious film like Dunkirk? Probably not, but the director chose to cast him anyways. I wasn't sure how well he'd fare in the movie, but trusted that under a director like Christopher Nolan, he'd be able to draw the best performance from the novice actor. Well, he definitely proved he could act, and managed to be a good fit for his role, which received a ton of praise from critics and fans across the board. Even with that taste of his acting chops, I wasn't certain about his range or skill as an actor. He had far more to do to prove he was a competent actor, at least for me personally. For others, including his fan base, I'm sure they were on board and believe him to be exceptionally talented from his one and only acting credit to date. At least in a feature-length movie. Those documentaries and concert films doesn't count. Now here we are 4 years later and he's landed a major role, which will definitely have more longevity compared to Dunkirk, which was a standalone film. We will be seeing a lot more of Harry Styles as Starfox going forward in the MCU. For the longest while, I've learned to trust Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, and Sarah Finn, the casting director responsible for many of the casting choices in the franchise. They have always been spot on with their casting of all their characters, which have rarely disappointed fans. For this particular casting, I had my doubts, and wondered what influenced their decision to get someone like Harry Styles, rather than any other actor available. It's unclear which of the two creatives were responsible for casting the singer, but they surely picked an interesting personality for the part. Maybe Eternals director Chloe Zhao was the one that made such a surprising decision that led to the courting of Styles for the role. It really has spiked my interest more so than any other actor who has joined the franchise in recent years. Chloe Zhao not only directed the Eternals, but she also filmed the post-credits and end-credit scenes. It's very common in the MCU to have directors come in and introduce certain characters they have personally liked as fans of the comics. Joss Whedon did it for the Avengers, and James Gunn in the Guardians of the Galaxy films, so Zhao definitely had the opportunity to do the same. She could be a fan of Starfox and even someone who's admired Harry Styles as a talent. Casting a musician was a way to work with him even in a small capacity. Bringing in someone who is already hugely popular outside the franchise will surely bring in new fans. The MCU already has a ton of female fans, but now that will probably grow tenfold by having Harry Styles as a superhero. They're going to be the ones supporting him, no matter what others may feel about him in the role. Heck, opening night, you can expect crowded screenings that are majority female moviegoers, just swooning over the singer. That might be annoying for some who are protective of the fan base, and think that anyone without much knowledge of certain characters and comics aren't worthy to be called fans. You know the purest fanboys. Well, tough. The fan base growing and gaining new fans is something out of any individual or collective fan's control. Now another gripe I have is casting such a young actor who doesn't have the same gravitas as Josh Brolin who played Thanos. Not that I have a particular actor in mind who would have been a better choice for Starfox, but I would have gone older with the casting. At some point we'll get flashbacks or even scenes with both actors on screen, and I feel that Harry Styles will just seem mismatched with the actor. For me, I always imagine someone much older as Eros / Starfox. Styles in the role makes him feel like Thanos' immature kid brother. Even with the screen presence he has, it's not nearly enough for me to completely buy that they are related. Still, the more I let the fact that Harry Styles is Starfox simmer, I'm able to accept it more than my initial reaction from my first screening. Having seen the films twice, it's grown on me, to the point I'm actually looking forward to seeing more of the character. Hopefully we don't have to wait too long. I never imagined we would get Starfox in the MCU, because they've completely stripped away some of the elements to Thanos' backstory and his connections to a number of characters he had ties to in the comics. The movies never mention him being an Eternal who carries the deviant gene, or touched on his biological family. If they had, we would have seen Starfox much earlier, or at least get a mention of him. I think it's great that they are expanding on Thanos' family by introducing his brother who is an entertaining character on his own. There's so much you could explore with the character based on his rich history in the comics. Namely his relationship with Jennifer Walters aka She-Hulk, who he slept with and later became his lawyer when he was accused of sexually assaulting a married woman. Yep, that's a legitimate story that the comics covered. The MCU has touched on some heavy stuff, but I don't know if they'll go there with the character just yet. Even though there's a She-Hulk show set to debut on Disney+, I'm doubtful we will see Starfox making an appearance on the show. Having Harry Styles star alongside Tatiana Maslany, who plays She-Hulk, would be interesting, but it would steal the spotlight from our main heroine, who will be making her debut in the upcoming series. Now I'm not gonna lie, I would absolutely lose my mind if he shows up and she beats him senseless like in the comics. Although the lead up to that encounter would have to be completely different. For now I think they'll keep him more in the cosmic realm, rather than having him earthbound, but nothing has been confirmed yet. A lot of people will consider this stunt casting, but this is the MCU. They don't need famous celebrities to create buzz for their movies. They do that on their own by just releasing great movies that appeal to everyone. Yes, they cast well-known talent, but that's because they want to work with the best actors possible for a project. That's why there's always a mix of unknown and veteran actors willing to be a part of their films. Usually by being in an MCU movie, it boosts the actor's career in the long run. They have been known to make stars out of the actors they cast. Just look at Chris Pratt, who became a leading man after Guardians of the Galaxy. Styles is already a successful solo artist, but he's definitely seeking to branch out into other areas, having excelled in his field. He wants to be an actor, and this is another stepping stone towards him establishing himself as a legitimate actor. The more roles he does, people will see him as more than just a musician. They will see him as an actor. So I'm okay with a pop star playing a superhero. At least it's someone who is committed to giving his all in a role. I don't just see him turning up on set and giving a half-assed performance. He's actually trying whilst having fun with the role. His character is someone who is larger than life, as seen in the post-credits scene. And that's just a taste of what's to come. They could have cast someone who had a comedic background, but they went with a celebrity who has a natural flair for making people laugh. Just look at some of his interviews and you'll see what I mean. Styles is just unabashedly himself, no matter the environment. He'll be professional when necessary, but overall he's just a fun-loving soul. As someone who is not a big Harry Styles fan, I'm willing to give him a chance as this character instead of just jumping on a bandwagon and hating on him. So let me end this video by saying, welcome to the MCU Harry Styles. This is going to be the beginning of something absolutely out of this world. During the next few weeks, I'll be putting out more videos on the channel, talking about individual characters in the Eternals. So stay tuned for more coverage from the film, as well as other TV and movie related news. So what do you think about Harry Styles being in the MCU? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways folks, that's all for now. Thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed the show. Please feel free to subscribe, like and comment below. And hey, maybe this wasn't your cup of tea. And that's okay. Just remember to take care and stay safe.